yesterday's class, we have seen what is the role of Spring Data JPA with respect to Spring ORM, with respect to Spring JDBC. Like this, we have discussed multiple things, guys. Right? So, if you go for Spring ORM, it is definitely providing abstraction on any ORM framework, no doubt in that. But for every table, we should develop separate DAO class having both common and uncommon persistence logics related methods. If you have a 500 tables, we need to take 500 DAO interfaces, 500 implementation classes. Come on. 500 implementation classes. Are you listening my statement, guys? Right. In all these 500 implementation classes, you should develop common persistence logic related methods. Right now, boss? Common persistence. So burden on the programmer will be increased. If you go to Spring Data JPA, you just need to declare a repository interface extending from one or another predefined repository interface. Extending from one or another predefined repository interface. From predefined repository interface, so many methods will be inherited which are related to card operations and various commonly used operations. And by generating in-memory proxy class for that interface, for our repository interface, okay, those methods will be implemented automatically by Spring Data JPA. That means our containers will generate what? In-memory proxy classes. In-memory proxy classes. Am I audible, guys? Spring, this one, Spring Data. Okay. Spring Data JPA. First application. Yes, guys. Repositories in Spring Data JPA. Yes, according to yesterday's class, what is discussed? Spring Data is the main module and Spring Data JPA is the sub module. And a lot of modules are there, but popular modules are what? Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JDBC is given, okay, given to develop JDBC style persistence logic. Spring Data JPA is given to develop JPA style persistence logic. That means OR mapping persistence logic. And Spring Data MongoDB is given to develop persistence logic by interacting with MongoDB database software. Okay. Now like the Spring Data Cassandra is there, Spring Data Neo4j is there. Okay, what is the beauty, guys? Whatever repositories concept is there, that concept is common for what? All these both SQL and NoSQL database software. That means Spring Data module provides, okay, unified environment to interact with both SQL and NoSQL database software. NoSQL, SQL and NoSQL database software. Before arrival of Spring Data module, to interact with SQL database software, we used to have different modules, and we don't have any support in Spring to interact with NoSQL database software. If needed, we used to write its own APIs to interact with NoSQL database software. But at the arrival of Spring Data, we are having unified environment to interact with both SQL and what? NoSQL database software. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Okay, right. Spring Data JPA internally uses Hibernate, boss. Always remember. Spring Data JPA always uses Hibernate internally. Spring Data JPA internally uses Hibernate as ORM framework. Okay. As what? ORM framework. So strong knowledge in Hibernate programming definitely helps to work with Spring Data JPA effectively. Okay. While developing entity classes. Understanding my point there? Okay. While developing entity classes, okay, we need to, entity classes are also called as what, guys? Model classes, right? Model classes. We need to prefer using annotations in the following order. First priority to JPA annotations, guys. JPA annotations. What are those? Portable across the multiple ORM softwares. Which are portable, guys. Next, if not there, then we have to think about using Hibernate specific annotation, which are very much specific to Hibernate annotation. If still not sufficient, then think about using third-party annotations. Okay, one minute. Okay. Java config annotations. What annotations, guys? Java config annotations. Now let me give this one as a B. Java config annotations. Second priority to what? Java config annotations. Okay, C. Then Hibernate specific annotations. Okay, Java config annotations means what? Given by JDK or JW. And Hibernate specific annotation. Still not sufficient, then think about going for what? Third-party annotations. Maximum cases we will be happy with the JP annotations. If not that, okay, Java config annotation, Hibernate specific annotation, generally we won't get the requirement going to what? third party annotation. But this is the order that you have to prefer. This is the order that you want to prefer. Understanding my statement, guys? JPA is the common specification for all ORM framework. It is having its own API. In that API, so many annotations are there. You prefer dealing with them. You prefer using them. Okay, now? Right. So, 1 minute. Let me put this one over here. Now, I would like to present all the repositories that are there, guys. Okay, 1 minute. E-drive. I saved those diagrams somewhere. All docs. Spring data. Spring data repositories. One small diagram is there. Oh, it will take time. Oh, 1 minute. Save this. File open. E-drive. All docs. Spring data repositories. Okay, guys. Copy this. Class content, Spring. Yes, listen carefully. We have a repository interface, guys. This is the root interface for all repository interfaces. In fact, it is an empty interface, guys. In fact, it is an empty interface, so I can call it as a marker interface also. Then it is having what? Crude repository. Having all regular activity. Method declarations, 9 to 10 methods are there, boss. In like save operation, update operation, delete operation, count operation, all these things. Then we are having paging and sorting repository, boss. This will support CRUD operations plus sort and paging activity. Array displaying records page by page. Pagination. Displaying records page by page. Google search results. You will get pages 1 to 10, right? That kind of pagination and sorting also. Alphabetic base. Ascending, descending order sorting is there, na? That one. Then we are having JPA repository. We are having what? JPA repository. Oh, okay. Right. Now listen, JPA specific executor, Spring Data JPA. So right now that's not important, guys. This is an empty interface, CRUD repository, paging and sorting repository, JPA repository. So here we are having some extra methods related to what? JPA specification. Okay, these are the common. These three repositories you can find in Spring Data, MongoDB also. These three repositories are common repository, and you can see this one in what? Spring Data, JDBC also. These three repositories are common for Spring Data, Cassandra also. So these are specific to what? Spring Data JPA. Similarly, in MongoDB environment, we'll be having Spring Data, MongoDB repository. In Cassandra environment, we'll be having Cassandra repository. But these three repositories are common for all the repositories, both SQL and NoSQL database software, both JDBC style and ORM style and NoSQL style persistence logic. Are you getting my point, guys? So first of all, you observe CRUD repository, boss. Let me open one by one. code repository docs. Code repository docs. Right. Total how many methods they have given, guys? Look at the methods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Am I right? I think 3, 6, 9, 9 plus 3, 12. 12 methods are there. I hope you are understanding my point, guys. Spring Data JPA annotations are there, but that we won't use in the development of entity classes, Ra Babu. Chinna Babu, without knowing marker interfaces, you are writing Spring classes are great, guys. Mr. Chinnababu, empty interfaces are called marker interfaces. They are also called as tag interfaces. Come on. The interfaces that makes underlying JVM or containers or servers to provide special runtime capabilities to implementation class objects are called marker interfaces. Example, serializable. Come on. Serializable, clonable, all these are empty interfaces. Single thread model of servlet programming, all these are empty interfaces. Got it? Okay. Special runtime capabilities to the implementation class objects. Right. Now listen here, repository. Observe, are there any methods in this? No. Sir, what is T? Entity class name. What is ID? Okay, ID means data type of the identity property. The data type of the identity property. What do you mean by identity property? The property that points to PK column, primary key column, guys. It's a property that points to what? PK column, nothing but identity column. Are you understanding my point? The property that will be used to identify the object and to link object with record, guys. So that is called ID property, boss. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay. Yes, okay. Marker interface. Marker interface. No methods. Nice. Next, here how many methods are there? 11 methods. Okay, but just 12, huh? Okay, 12 methods. 12 methods. Doing all card operation. Observe very carefully. In this list, delete is there. Select up, find all means select operation is there. Save is there. Insert operation is there. But there is no method finding. Update operation. Is there any method doing update operation, guys? Then how you can say it's a crude repository, sir? Array, this is the specialty of the save method. If record is not there, it will insert the record. If record is not there, same save method, are you listening my statement? Will update the record. So this is the specialty of these guys. Saves given entity. Uses return instance further operation as save operation might have seen this one. Okay, but if you look at the source code of save method, it internally calls what? Merge method. And merge method is capable of doing both save and update operation. Those who have done Hibernate with me, they are aware of that, right? Aware of that. Okay, so these are this one. Now look at sub interface, guys. Paging and sorting. Paging and sorting. Only two method. Find all, pageable. That means for pagination. Find all, sort for sorting purpose. Find all, sorting for sorting purpose. Are you getting my point there, guys? Find all, this one. Here how many methods are there? Two methods are there. Okay, guys. 12 methods. Here two methods. to method. Okay. Now have a look on this JPA repository, guys. JPA repository. JPA repository docs. Look at this. It is almost having same method that code repository is having. 1, 2 extra methods are there. Are you getting my point there, guys? 1, 2 extra methods are there. 1, 2 extra methods. Find all same. Here find all example is new one. Okay, here it is having find all sort. Here only it is providing sorting related one. 1, 2 extra methods are there. Check it out, guys. JPA specific extension of repository. It is JPA specific extension of repository. That means some methods are given supporting JPA API. JPA styles, because example classes, iterable, all these are what? Collected from JPA API, Java persistence API, according to they have given, guys. Right, boss. What is this? Okay. Same as, are you understanding my point, guys? Crude repository. Same as crude repository, but contains, okay, JPA specific methods, like methods taking example objects. Methods taking example object. Array, example object means some criteria data, condition data can be taken as example object. All right, boss. Okay, guys. Fine, boss. Right. Shall we go for the procedure to develop our first procedure to develop our first what is that? Spring Data JPA application as standalone application, guys. What application? Standalone application. Okay. Partially layered application. What application? Partially layered application. Partially layered application. Shall we observe that, guys? Now listen. Partially. Why I'm saying this? I'm just avoiding controller, guys. Client application I am taking. So then we are having service class, guys. Okay. Then here what is this? Repository. Then this one. Okay, guys. Client application, service class, repository, and we are having what? Database software. Are you getting my point there? Right, boss. Sindhu madam, when you miss the class, basic common sense is opening the document and reading the document. Not done that. Okay, now you are asking JPA is there in those documents. It's minimum responsibility, madam, when you miss the class reading the document. Now you are asking what is there in the document in the middle of the class. Great. Okay. This is the commitment and attitude you are having, boss. Okay, boss. Now tell me, guys, client application talks to service class talks with what? A repository, and repository interacts with what? Database software. Okay. Now listen carefully, guys. Okay, boss. Implementation class of in-memory implementation class. In-memory, what is that? Implementation class. Are you getting my point? In-memory implementation class contains persistence logic. In-memory implementation class of repository interface. In-memory, right, contains persistence logic. That's why here we develop what, guys? Only repository interface. We don't develop anything. Now tell me, this client fellow will have presentation logic. Actually, to simplify the development, I am removing controller, guys. Okay, here is my service class having business logic. Service class business logic. Clear, my dears? Okay. Step number 1. Create Spring Boot starter project. Starter project adding the following dependencies. The following starters as dependencies. Starters as the dependents. Okay, I'll give the list of starters, so don't worry. Okay. Close the projects, guys. File new, others, Spring Boot starter project, guys. Understanding my statement? Yes. Okay. Boot data JPA. Spring Boot data JPA. What is that, guys? 14. Not 14. We'll start with number 1. Boot data JPA pros 1. This is dealing with crude repository. This is dealing with crude repository. Pros 01. Come on, guys. Right. Meven jar, this one, say next. Say next. I need Lambda KPI support. Array, description is not important. You want to change the description? Huh? Okay. Spring data JPA. Application. Happy now? Right. Okay. Boot data JPA project code repository. That's a regular one, guys. Meven jar version, all this stuff. Yes. If you want, you can use more higher version of Java also, your choice. Next. Right. I want to use Lambda KPI. I want to use Oracle thin driver for database connectivity. Okay. Don't choose data in JDBC API. Okay. Search for JPA. Spring data JPA. Search for JPA. Spring data JPA. Are you getting my point there, guys? Okay. Say next. So these are the 3 things that you have to take, boss. 1 minute. On safe side, I'll take a screenshot of it. Say next, say finish. Okay, say next, say finish. So these are the three things. Lambda API to get getter setter method, Oracle driver to interact with the database, Oracle to interact with Oracle databases, Spring Data JPA. Yeah, Spring Data JPA by default gives Hikari CP jars, boss. By default gives Hikari CP jars. I hope you are understanding my statement, guys. Okay. Done, boss. Right. Gives Hibernate jars plus Hikari CP jars plus Spring Data JPA jars also. Are you listening my statement, guys? Gives HB jars, Hikari CP jars. Come on. Hikari CP jars, Spring Data JPA jars. Right, boss. I think we are ready with this. Yes. Boot Data JPA. Boot Data JPA 01. That's cool. Look at the pom.xml. Okay, nice, boss. Next, step number 2. Okay, add data source, comma, Hibernate specific properties. Hibernate specific properties in application.properties file. Application.properties file. First of all, let me confirm, guys, my dears. First of all, let me confirm. Okay. Kasi, definitely we need to add. Otherwise, how does it know which? It has to talk with which database software. Okay. Now listen carefully. See, lot of Spring related jars have come. Lot of Spring related jars have come. Many things are coming, but first of all, let me confirm Hikari CP jars, guys. Yeah, Hibernate Core 5.4.32. Latest version only it is picking up, guys. Hibernate Core. Right. Now here we are providing what? This one. Hikari CP. Hikari CP. Understanding my point? Okay. If any jar is missing during project creation, you can add manually later in pom.xml. Not compulsory, you should select only that time. If you miss any jars during project creation, you can add later. Okay. Hikari CP is coming. Did you notice that, boss? Right. Right. In application.properties file, or if you are interested, you can work with YML also. I think I have given enough knowledge of working with YML and properties, right? Okay, here, data source configuration. And if you don't want to work with Hikari CP, and we have a algorithm, lot of depth knowledge I have given on data sources, right? You want to work with C3P0 also, we have a solution, right? Okay, in future we will see how to work with the server manager JDBC connection. So data source configuration. Spring dot data source dot, come on, data source dot driver class name. Okay, don't expect database software related driver jar file should come automatically. In the market, nearly 10 plus popular database softwares are there. How does they will guess that you are interested to interact with a certain database software? So that's why JDBC drivers jar you have to add manually. Okay, aracle.jdbc.driver.aracle driver. Yeah, it gives H2 as in-memory database, guys. Don't use it. Don't entertain that. That is only for what? Testing purpose or development angle. In production, anyhow, we have to use serious database softwares. Are you understanding my point? Okay. Yes, nowadays writing driver class name is optional. Everyone knows that. URL JDBC colon Aracle colon thin @localhost 1521. Yes. Generally people learns, people study about what? These properties while learning data JPA. But we already spent time on this, right? As part of mini project development only, we already spent time on it while enjoying auto configuration. So that's why these are not new properties for us, right? System. Spring dot data source dot password manager. JPA Hibernate properties. The people who knows Hibernate, the people who knows Hibernate, we have to provide, come on. The people who knows Hibernate, are you getting my point? We need to provide some details related to Hibernate was. Number one, dialect. Recollect dialect. We have to provide dialect. A dialect is a component in JPA environment, Hibernate environment that is capable of generating SQL queries. You will give only objects based persistence instructions, guys. There should be someone to convert. Those persistence instructions into what? SQL queries. That someone is nothing but dialect component. Yeah, the dialect component value, the property value will change based on the database software and JDBC driver software we are using, boss. Based on the database software and its version we are using, the dialect value will change. Oracle 9i one dialect, 10G one dialect, 11G one dialect, 12C one dialect. For MySQL one dialect, for PostgreSQL one dialect will be there. Because SQL queries are database software dependent, boss. Are you listening my statement? So this dialect only, the dialect which is specific to each version of database software, each database software will take the responsibility of generating what? Okay, that database software specific SQL queries. Spring dot JPA dot, come on. Spring dot JPA dot platform. There is one more. Spring dot JPA dot database dot platform is equal to database platform. Platform is equal to. So here what we have to, guys, dialect property we have to pass. Okay. Now if you are looking for help about any property, don't worry about it. Yes. Dialect value. You can collect from internet these properties. You can collect internet. Okay. Here you see this application properties. What is this? Application properties. Nothing to mug up, guys. Application properties. Common application properties. Fine. Big list is there. So here data migration properties, data properties are there. Okay, in this data properties, you search for dialect. You search for dialect. Yes. Okay, this is juke.sql. No, we are not looking for that. Okay, we are not looking for that. See this spring.java database platform. Name of the target database operation auto detected by default can be uh, can be altered by setting dialect kind of thing. Okay, database enum. So we have auto property. We have a lot of things, guys. We have a lot of things to specify. Are you listening my statement, boss? Come on. So from here you can collect all the properties, boss. There is no need of mugging up them. There is no need of, see, there is one more property called show underscore SQL. Spring.jpa.show underscore SQL. Okay, and it internally generates so many SQL queries. Now I want to see them. And if you are interested to provide any additional properties, okay, spring.jpa.properties. This star indicates additional properties like format underscore SQL. Many are there, guys. Okay, here also you can specify dialect. Here also you can specify dialect. Are you listening my statement, boss? Okay, this is how we have to get the properties. And dialect list, boss. Hibernate dialect list. Hibernate dialect list. Okay. Okay. Hibernate tutorial, boss. Yeah, this is the big dialect list. See this? MySQL, you take Oracle. Oracle any version, Oracle dialect. Oracle 9i, Oracle 9i dialect along with the class name. Oracle 10G, Oracle 10G dialect. MySQL, MySQL dialect. Are you getting my point? Okay. It's a bit old, guys. It's a bit. And the 10G dialect will work for 11G and 12C also. 11G and 12C also. Okay. Dialect is a component that is responsible to generate database software specific SQL queries. That's a Hibernate concept. That's why I said Hibernate knowledge is required. Okay, guys. Now listen. Okay. Listen, you can copy paste or you can get from, you can happily get it. Copy these guys, paste it. org.hibernate.dialect.oracle 10. Even though I'm having 11G, 10G dialect will work for 11G also. For 11G, separate dialect is not there, my dear. Okay, right. Spring.jpa dot show underscore show hyphen SQL true. Okay, I'll give explanation about this dialect generate SQL queries na. I want to see them as log messages. Next, jpa dot okay jpa dot hibernate dot. Are you listening my statement, guys? Hibernate dot hibernate dot ddl dot auto. DDL means data definition language dot auto. Okay, the best suitable value is update, boss. The best suitable value is update. What are the possible values, guys? We have other possible values are there. Other values. Oh, no question of writing comment like this. Other values are create. Okay, create. See this one. Validate, create hyphen drop. Create hyphen drop. Yes, I think same line it is not allowing. We will try to take this one. Cut it guys, paste. Okay. Other possible values are, yes. I'll give explanation about everyone, don't worry. Okay. Create. Always creates a new table by dropping the existing table. Array, Hibernate basic advantage is what? Dynamic schema generation, right? Always creates a new table by dropping existing tables. You run application 20 times, existing tables will be dropped and new tables will be created. Validate does nothing. Everything we should do manually. It will just verify whether specified things are available or not. If available, fine. If not available, exception will be thrown. That means everything we should do manually. It will just verify things are there or not there. Table is there according to entity class or not. If there, no problem. If not there, exception will be thrown. Create -drop guys. In application startup, it will create the table and it will use the table throughout the application. At the end of the application, okay, the table will be dropped. The table will be dropped automatically. Okay, last one is what? Update. It is very interesting, boss. If tables are already there, uses them. If not there, creates them. If not there, creates them. And if needed, alters them. Suppose entity class is having what extra property, table is not having one that property, it will add a new column. It will add a new column. It's very dynamic. That's why most regularly used one is update. Sir, where we use create -drop, looking very interesting. Okay. Array, one client representative have come to your company to see the demo of the project. Array, while giving the demo, you will be having temporary data, and those tables should be created what? At the start of the demo. At the end of the demo, this table should be destroyed. Array, at the end of the demo, same table should be destroyed. I don't want to waste memory. At that particular time, create -drop is good or not? Okay, now listen. Project is in user acceptance test. What guys? Project is released to client organization. Client is doing UAT, user acceptance test. Some dummy users will be created to work on the project for multiple days. That means to check whether project is there properly or not. So at that time, whatever data that is generated, temporary data or not. So when UAT starts, tables will be created, dummy tables will be created. Whatever data that is generated, that will be used throughout the UAT process. Once UAT is over, that means at the end of the application execution, okay, the tables will be destroyed. Are you understanding my point there or not there? Okay. Otherwise, client fellow said that, Array, you are talking new technologies. I am not getting confidence on it. Do one thing. Develop one POC. Develop one POC, proof of concept. One small mini project to develop as a POC and give me demo. We'll develop POC. While giving demo, we will again use create -drop. At the start of the application, tables will be created. Throughout the demo, tables will be utilized. At the end of the demo, those tables should be destroyed. Okay. So validate and create are not regularly used options, guys. Not at all regularly used option. Why? Because if you run the project again, existing tables will be dropped and new table will be created. So this is very dangerous. Validate means it will just check. It never thinks about creating tables. But most regularly used one in development environment and production environment is update, guys. Only while doing testings, create -drop will be used. Is that clear, my dears? Okay. Okay, boss. JPA Hibernate properties. These are the properties we have to write. Right. Copy this. application dot properties. First application, and let me take my own time. Yes, boss. So these are JDBC properties, guys. Now listen one by one. This is dialect. Dialect. So this is a easy property and auto property was. Now listen, what is dialect? Not one. And dialect is a hibernate internally managed component or service that that is capable of generating SQL queries based on the underlying database software and its version. Okay. All dialects are the all dialects are the all dialects are the classes okay, extending from org.hibernate dot come on dialect class dialect class. Okay, the dialect value will change. Are you understanding my point? The dialect value will change based on the database software and its version we choose. Okay, guys, next one. Okay, it is optional property to specify. Optional property to specify. Optional property to specify because based on the JDBC or data source properties, we configure the dialect component. The dialect component will be picked up automatically. Now happy why we are not writing in Hibernate classes? Are you listening? In Hibernate, we never seriously write it. Here also optional to write. I've decided to highlight, that's why I'm highlighting. Come on. I want to highlight that. It's recommended to write, guys. It's very much recommended to write. Okay, guys. These are the various dialects we are having, boss. Copy this to get all dialects. Okay, now tell me, guys, these dialects are given by whom? Hibernate people or database software people? Are these dialects are given by Hibernate people? Look at the package name. Look at the package name. org.hibernate.dialect.oracle10g dialect. These are given by Hibernate people. But they are given with respect to each database software. I hope everyone clear on this, guys. Okay. Next one. Show SQL to show generated SQL queries, guys. Shows The dialect component generated SQL queries. Shows the dialect component generated SQL queries as log messages. Okay guys, as log messages. If you switch on your camera, I will be removing you, boss. No doubt in that. Right. Okay. Right. To use dynamic schema generation feature of what guys? Dynamic schema generation feature of Hibernate. To use Hibernate. Okay guys, what is the first possible value? Create. Okay. Always creates new DB tables, new DB table by dropping the tables if already existed. Okay guys, next one, update. If DB tables are already available, then uses them. If modifications are required, alters them. Come on, alters them only by adding new columns. Only new columns adding is possible, guys. Only adding of new columns is possible. Right, boss. Next. Okay. If DB tables are not there, then creates a new DB table. New DB tables according to the entity classes. Are you getting my point there, guys? So useful in project development and production environment, guys. As part of profiles, we discussed all these points, right? Next one, validate. Does nothing on its own. Except verifying whether DB tables are there according to entity classes or not. That means DB tables must be created by the developers manually. Developers or database team manually. That means we cannot enjoy Hibernate feature, guys. Next we are having what, guys? Create hyphen drop. Creates DB tables at the startup of application uses them throughout application execution, throughout applications execution, throughout application execution, and drops them at the end of the application. Drops them at the end of the application. So useful in the test comma UAT environments. UAT environments, and also in demos of projects and POCs, proof of concept, guys. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Proof of concept. Right. So what is most regularly used one? The best one is what? Update is the best. Okay, update is the best. I hope you are understanding my point. Right. Okay. Now, if you use this option effectively, guys, you need not to use SQL developer regularly. Yeah, generally we use it for cross verification. Okay. Now, this is the second one, boss. This is the second one that we have to develop. Right. That means so many things are going to come through auto configuration or not. Data source is going to come through auto configuration. Are you understanding my point? Fine. In the production we used none. In the production we used none. I don't think none is required. Update is good in the production. Ganesh Bale, maybe your company is having specific requirement. Okay, one more possible value is there, that is none, guys. Okay. None is also one possible value. But I noticed in the production environment, people are preferring what? Update. Right, maybe project specific requirement, my dear. These are the minimum 3 things we have to write. Okay, now let me share some URLs with you people. These are the dialect URLs, guys. Okay, guys. This is one thing, and data properties URLs. Okay, guys. Spring Boot application properties. For Spring Boot application properties. Okay, guys. Right. Manali Tapre, none means we are deactivating that feature, everything we should take care. No validation happens and all tables should be created manually. Are you getting my point? None. Okay. Does nothing. Does nothing. Okay. Okay. DB table should be created manually. Should be created manually. Even verification does not take place. Even verification does not take place. Happy, boss? Verification also will not happen. At least validate is doing verification, whether tables are there according to entity classes or not. Even that also will not happen. Okay. Right. Step number 4. Step number 3. Develop the entity classes. Develop the entity class entity class using the above said annotations, using the above said annotations, above said annotations. Yes, we have to use the above said. I said now, first priority to JPA annotations, next priority to Java config annotation, next one Hibernate specific annotation, lastly third party annotation. Maximum we will be ending up with JPA annotations, boss. Then only our entity classes becomes very, very portable. Yes. Make sure that whatever package you are taking under the root package, so that we can enjoy automatic component scanning, boss, right? You can enjoy automatic component scanning. Package here, com.nt.entity. com.nt.entity class here. Here is my, what is this? Okay. Kasi, when we use none, if you don't match entity with the DB table, how does it works even validating? How does it works validating? Exceptions will come, my dear. You have to manually match. Kasi, you have to manually match. That's a basic thing. Right, boss? So let us take some detail. Let us take some details. What details we will try to take? What details we will try to take? Array, I want to save, I want to insert a record. That is my requirement today. So when you want to insert the record, okay, we will take corona vaccine details, guys. Corona vaccine. Corona vaccine. Okay, fine. Corona vaccine. Listen, guys, it's a model class or entity class. If you want to enjoy Hibernate caching in future, first level caching, second level caching, especially second level caching, it's recommended to implement serializable interface. It's recommended to implement serializable interface. Is only recommendation. Array second level caches are supporting disk caching. That means if RAM memory is not sufficient, they are ready to use hard disk memory as a cache memory, right? Okay. If disk caching means serialization only. Disk caching means serialization only. I am talking about second level caching, boss. Okay. Now listen. Private long array prefer working with wrapper types. Vaccine registration number. Array there will be registration number for vaccine na boss, that one. Okay, private string name, vaccine name, private string, come on, company, which company has given the vaccine? Okay, this one, next, string, array, I'm not talking about which hospital is giving. I want to give basic details about vaccine itself, right? Okay, what is this? Country. That company, basically that company belongs to which country? Next, okay, float, okay, float or double price. These are the details I am taking. Okay, boss. Now Nizam, one more thing, private. Number of doses, number of doses. Number of doses. Okay, I think integer is enough. Required doses. Required doses. Required doses count. Okay, required doses count. Something. Right? This is enough, boss. These are the table. This one we are having. Now listen. Listen. Entity, to tell that it is not a normal model class, it is a entity class. Right. Now listen, at the rate table, at the rate table, at the rate table, name is equal to, name is equal to, listen guys, if you want to take table name as what? Class name, class name as table name, there is no need of writing at the rate table guys. Now you want to have a different name. You want to have a different name. Table you want to have a different name. Corona underscore corona underscore vaccine underscore tab I want to have. So then we have to, you have to take at the rate table separately. Are you listening my statement guys? But generally people matches guys. Generally people matches. Okay. Optional, optional, if DB table name, DB table name, optional if you want to take DB table name same as entity class name. Optional guys. Next. Now listen guys, there is a at the rate ID. Array, based on this information, table will be created and these become columns. Which one you want to see as a primary key column? Which one you want to see as a primary key column? This registration number I want to see as a primary key column. Are you listening my statement guys? Okay. Now listen, and you want to map this one with which property or which column? At the rate column guys, come on. At the rate column, name is equal to, okay, REGNO. At the rate column, name is equal to REGNO. Now listen guys, mentioning column name is optional if column name and property name is matching. But we use at the rate column to specify the length guys. Okay, to specify the length, but this length will work only for string properties. For numeric properties, length will be decided by underlying database software automatically. Okay, that's why it's waste specifying length for numeric columns guys. Only for string column this length will work. Okay, again what? Optional if you want to take, come on, property name as the column name. Okay. Or if you want to take different name, specify that column name here, a dirty fellow. After listening entire Ramayana is asking who is Sita. If you want to take different column name, specify that name here. Okay. To make property as the singular ID property. What guys? Singular ID property. Okay. Gender property and to map with, come on guys, and to map with okay, singular PK column. Singular PK column of the table. Okay guys. Next. Yeah, remaining are normal properties guys. That's why I'm writing what? At the rate column, name is equal to name. Since both are matching guys, I am not writing, but still I am using this to specify the length. When you are creating table dynamically, I want to mention length. I hope you are understanding my point there. Okay, fine boss. Copy this. Length is equal to 20. Length is equal to 20. Okay, for price, listen carefully. For price, when it comes to price, are you understanding my point? When it comes to numeric properties, lengths will not work, precisions will not work, they will take by default. So that's why I'm not adding any at the rate column. So are not adding at the rate column, what's the meaning of that? Column name and property name is same. Okay, then you are not mentioning length. For numeric properties, lengths will not work. Only for string properties, lengths will work. Okay, overall, what's the meaning is, guys? Entity is mandatory annotation, ID is mandatory annotation. At the rate table, at the rate column are the optional annotations. Are you listening my statement? Array, I want to get getter setter methods for it. So for that one, we are having at the rate data. At the rate data is there, guys. Getter setter method will be there. Okay, now listen. While saving object, I don't want to see a programmer or application manually entering this registration number. I want to generate this one dynamically. Are you listening my statement? I want to generate this one dynamically. There is another annotation called at the rate generated value. At the rate generated value. All these are JPA annotations, guys. At the rate generated value, okay, strategy is equal to auto. Strategy is equal to auto. Indicate the persistence provider should pick up appropriate strategy. May expect database resource to exist, or it may attempt to create one. Vendor may provide. Underlying database software decides what to be used. Either sequence or identity. Either sequence or identity. In most of the cases, it will use sequence if identity columns are not supported. In Oracle, it uses sequence. In MySQL, it uses identity. Okay, I will take what? This auto. Okay. So nothing was initially one, increment by one. Initially one. It internally generates one sequence, start with one, increment by one kind of thing. Okay, dynamically generates this property value. You need not to set manually, but remaining properties we have to set. I hope you are understanding my point, guys. Okay, right. Mr. Yasminan, why are you bringing Spring REST into picture, JSON into picture? This is what, my dear? Okay, right. Okay, guys. Don't bring JSON and Spring REST into picture now. Entity at the rate data generated value. This one. Chandan, what is your question? Ask completely in us. 50% question in one line, another 51% another line. Okay, please try to write the question in single line, my dear. Okay. Array, auto increment uses. If you mention auto, generator is auto. In case of Oracle, it uses sequence. In case of MySQL, it uses identity generator. Identity generator means auto increment property. Auto increment property of MySQL. In case of Oracle, sequence means it internally generates one sequence that starts with one, increment by one. Are you getting my point there or not? Yes. Okay, Chandan, if you want to see from 100, you please sit for Hibernate classes. There all generators will be explained. Come on, guys. I cannot take entire Hibernate in Spring Data JP. I'm telling straight away on your face. I'm telling straight away on your face. Okay, Hibernate is the course of 75 to 80 days. There I will cover 19 generators. How many? 19 plus generators I will cover. Okay, fine. If you are looking for all generators knowledge, please comments it there. Array, we are implementing serializable interface now since we are not writing that one. Anil Swain, trigger configuration is also one generator. Trigger configuration also one generator. Clear? There are generators which uses triggers. Okay, I think everyone comfortable, guys. Entity class. Any confusion in the entity class? Sir, wherever column name is mentioned, it will take property name as the column name. Okay. Property name as the column name. Is that clear, guys? Now tell me what is this? Corona vaccine. Corona vaccine.java. Okay, boss. Corona vaccine.java. @table, @entity, @column, @id are the JPA annotations. Is that clear, guys? In that @entity, @id are mandatory annotations. What is that? Mandatory. Even @generated value is @generated value. Okay. @generated value also not mandatory annotation. If not there, we have to manually set registration number, guys. RJ. In that entity and ID are what? Okay. Mandatory annotations, and remaining all are optional annotations. Okay, that's the one thing, guys. Next. @ID property. @ID property configuration is mandatory pointing to PK column. Primary key column, guys. Next, we can control length of only string type columns, not the numeric type columns, because based on Java data types, Java data types, the underlying database software decides the length of numeric columns. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Based on the Java data types range, the underlying database software decides what? Length of numeric column. This is the reason why they have not given. Suppose Java long allows big value. I said length of 4. It's meaningless, right? It's meaningless. Think logically. Java long says I allow big value, 12 digit, 13 digits value. But I said length is equal to 4. By seeing anyone by seeing long, he will enter 4 digits. No, na. So that's why freedom is given. Freedom is given to what? Database software. Based on the Java data types range, you decide the length of the columns, especially for numerics. Especially for numerics, guys. I hope you are understanding my point. This is one place where lots of people do mistake. They seriously write the lengths. And when they observe the table, lengths will not reflect, guys. Why not reflecting? There is a lot of common sense in that. There's a lot of common sense in that. Are you understanding my point there? Okay. Oh. Dharmendra Kumar, @ table, new table name. Anyhow, schema generation is there. As part of that, this table will be created. What is there in that? Are you getting my point? You have given table name. As part of schema generation, with that table, with that name, table will be created. Okay, guys, come on. And moreover, when you mention the table name, this class and table are internally mapped now, boss. This is primary. This is what? Sunil Kumar, Hibernate supports both composite identity fields, singular identity fields. Array, this is nothing but, this is seriously nothing but, this is seriously nothing but var mapping configurations, right? This is seriously var mapping. Map class with table, properties with columns, right? So when so many tables, so many classes are there, like this we configure or not? Okay. Only the thing is we are learning annotation driven configuration. Annotation driven configuration. Are you getting my point? Nitin, am I making long implementing serializable? Am I making class implementing serializable? I am making class implementing serializable, not long. I don't know why are you asking why long is implementing serializable. Are dirty fellows, all wrapper classes are serializable, ra? West fellows. Study core Java properly. All wrapper classes are serializable. Thank you, guys. We'll complete application tomorrow.